If we
Pukekohe would be cool, man.
Atom got to ride around Pukekohe before he went back home.
Oh, I'm a bit jelly.
We took him out because we went out to Hampton Downs, realised there was a lightning storm coming, so we ran, and then we went to Pukekohe, and the track manager was there, so we rang him up and said, "Hey, we got a guy here from Wellington? Can we putt around the track and just show him the track?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, 40 k's and just sort of putt around, and you'll be right." And so
the headlights on.
Gee, that's all right.
Yeah.
Did you go faster than 40 k's?
No, he was very, very good.
Oh, okay.
I have a good relationship. Right. I have a good relationship with Gary. I don't want to,
Okay,
yeah. Just to throw into the
taint it.
Just to throw into the podcast as well. The reason we're talking about this is I was up in Auckland and met Nismonath for the first time for Armageddon weekend before last.
Last week.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago at the time of recording.
Yeah.
A week and a half, for Armageddon, where we both worked at basically a sim racing thing, ran simulators for people all day. 30 hours in 3 days, or 33 hours, or something like that.
That's insane, eh?
On the clock.
Bloody hell.
But yeah, we got to meet for the first time, which our girlfriends were very excited about, even though they never met each other. They didn't meet each other, but they were both like, "Oh my god, that's cool! You're meeting friend in real life."
We must double date one time.
So we will.
That's a bit cute.
And anyway, the day after the events were finished, I delayed my flight so that we could go see the motorsport sites of the Auckland region, and Nate was very accommodating, took me to Hampton Downs and then Pukekohe, and got to go around the racetrack, which was pretty awesome. So, but yeah, Pukekohe, now that I've seen it and I know what the layout is, I'd want that on Gran Turismo because I think that it would make for awesome racing.
Pukekohe
I've seen it in supercars. It goes all right.
Pukekohe is literally just high-speed ring, but in real life.
And it used to not have the little chicane. I've actually got a map.
The little chicane comes in and out.
There you go. You can actually run it. You can actually run it with or without the chicane.
Yeah, the tarmac still exists.
Yeah. So.
Well, I was going to say before, you want any New Zealand track?
Oh, Nate, your mic's not working. Oh, there we go, you're back.
There we go.
No, that's all right, you're back now.
This old headset's a bit on the brink. It's like 3 years old.
Seen the 2 hour mark and gone, nah, I'm done.
It's on strike. So at the Armageddon event that Atom and I were just at, we had Gran Turismo playing along, which was cool, but then we also had Formula 1, and because obviously New Zealand, Australia, we had, it was Albert Park, and it was a time trial event.
Yeah.
And it was definitely interesting seeing all the different people showing up, and that's the thing about those sorts of events, is that you have such a variety of casual, and it's so easy to forget that the people that sort of you see in the world tours, and then obviously if you're in, I can't remember what it was, if you have 30,000 or 40,000 DR or more,
up 1%, baby,
you're already in the top 1 or 2% of the entire Gran Turismo player base, and the player base is 7 million people, right? At least it was back in sport. I don't quite know what the numbers are yet for 7.
It'll be higher.
Oh, it'll be higher, but they'll wait a year or two before they release those sorts of numbers. But so it's so easy to forget just how many less serious people there are, and people who
yeah.
Well, people at Armageddon come in and they think it's Need for Speed and don't think they need to use the brake.
Yeah,
and they think that the brake is for drifting.
Yep.
Nate has a good story about that.
I was gonna say it's the 3 types of people, right? The 3 types of casual Gran Turismo players with the wheel.
Here you go.
So, number 1 is they've got the steering wheel. They're turning the corner, right? So for context, we were using the Porsche 917, the modern one, at high-speed ring, right? So it's a very high-power car, very easy to drive. It's pretty forgiving.
We were on racing softs too.
On racing softs, and
right.
they could turn all the aids on, and they could really put the floaties on if they needed it. And high-speed ring itself, it's a very fundamentally easy to learn, hard.
Lots of walls, no runoff.
Yeah. So you'd have people, they got the wheel, driving along, they feel like they're going a million miles an hour, and then they would turn into a corner, and they would go, They'd start turning, and then they'd be like, "Oh, the car's not turning nearly as much as I thought it would. I better go the full lock." And so they'd like go like,
Yeah.
They'd let go of the wheel and they'd do this.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, Atoms,
like
Atoms,
they're playing Bus Simulator.
Yeah.
basically, yeah. But they're doing like 340 k's an hour heading
There
into
was
turn 2.
there was absolutely 0 point in telling them don't let go of the wheel because they always let go of the wheel.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
They always let go of the wheel, and then they'd never brake because they don't realise how fast they're going. They don't realise they're going 300 plus k's. They think they're just going barely 100. You know, just doesn't feel that fast. What are the other two types, mate?
The other two types.
You got your bus drivers, category 1.
Yeah, you got your bus drivers. You got the
That's
ones.
a good name.
You got the ones that try to press the brake pedal really confidently, but because we're using Logitech pedals, they push the clutch.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yep.
Yeah, so you got
So,
3 pedals
yeah.
and they press the clutch. Even though
So
we
when
showed
you-
them the brake pedal before
Yeah.
they started.
So when
so you got the bus drivers, you got the stick shifters.
you got the stick shifters, and then you got the ones who show up and like, because especially if they were like, because most of the people that we had playing Gran Turismo were mates that wanted to race each other, right? Because it was all
Yeah.
it was a lobby, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They want to race their mates. They want to see who's the best, right?
And it was on a
Yeah.
big screen.
And it was on a giant screen, had like a big 14-meter like LED. Oh, that was beautiful. So you'd get two guys. They'd usually be, you know, like younger kids, so like, I don't know, 9 to 12. They'd come in, they'd be all, you know, bravado and stuff. And, oh yeah, I'm going to beat him, and I'm going to show him, and all that. And then you'd be like,
no.
because Atom did this really well. Actually, I saw him doing it. He'd always, person would come out. He would always set it up so that the assist menu was already there. So when they climb in, he can straight away be like, okay, do you want traction control? Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want auto or manual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first thing I asked them's auto or manual. That's the first question to get out of the way.
But he would always work down. So you get these kids that are like, manual.
Oh,
How do you
no.
change gear?
And then
You
they
want
drive
automatic, bro.
This one sort of diverts into two subcategories because you'd have the manual drivers.
We're getting complex
It's
now.
so
not
good.
really.
It's so good. This is so good.
Really. It's literally. manual
Disclaimer:
drivers-
we're not making fun of anyone. We're just having a discussion.
I'm making
love
fun of
and
people.
We love.
Oh, okay, right. Well, this is the little after hours bit that people can watch if they get to the end
Past
of the
9 o'clock
episode.
Aussie Eastern Standard, we're allowed.
It's 11:15, mate.
Trackside Lounge after hours.
So anyway, so you'd have the manual driver, but you'd have two types of manual driver. You'd have the one that would come out of the pits, and then there'd be like limiter bashing in first gear, and they're like, "Why am I not going faster?" But then on the on the other extreme, you'd have the guy who comes out of the pits, puts it straight into sixth gear, and then wonders why it's not. It's the biggest gear, so it must be the fastest, right? Why am I not going fast?
Yeah, exactly.
So they're both the type of people that should have just pressed automatic.
Yeah.
They should have just swallowed their
100%.
pride.
And then they'll never admit it. Like you'll.
And then the guy who did pick automatic, the guy who was smart and said, "Oh, I don't know how to drive manual," he's the guy that wins the race.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
And I want to add two categories, or at least one, to what Nate was saying about the drivers that get in the seats, right? You go through the period of setting them up, you give them automatic or manual, you give them their assist. Most of the time, I didn't even ask, I just said, you're having traction control, you're having ABS, and that was pretty much it. It was like driving line and like the brake indicators and stuff.
We left the brake indicators and stuff on just because, like Adam said, the sense of speed, like people just didn't.
They've got no
realize
idea.
they would- yeah. So they see a giant red thing saying brake. Well, then of course you brake, don't you?
yeah, of course.
So
yeah.
what would happen when they'd get in the chair? We go through all the settings, right? And then I take them, so I'm standing next to them there in the rig, and I'd put my hand on the wheel and I'd scroll over to enter track, and before I click it, I say, sweet, foot on the brake. First thing they do, foot on the accelerator, right?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, no,
That's the wrong pedal.
no, the brake, and they're like fumbling around with their feet, pressing anything except the brake. And I'm like, the brake is the middle one. Don't worry about the left one. Like, eventually it got to the point where I was like, the left pedal is not a problem. It's a clutch. Don't worry about it. It doesn't do anything. The middle pedal is your brake. The right one is the accelerator. But generally, it would be a case of foot on the brake. Eventually, get their foot on the brake, right? But for some of them, this category, I'd say foot on the brake, they tap the accelerator. And like, it would take me ages for them to tap the brake, right? And then I'm like, okay, cool, that's the brake. Now, press the accelerator. Yep, cool, got it. And I was like, okay. And then I'll press go to track, and then say foot on the brake. And what do? They press the accelerator? And they start driving out onto the track, and they're like, oh, and it's auto driving, and they start steering because they don't realize that it's auto driving. And I'm trying to pull the wheel back to straight and go, this button is to change your view, the square button. I'm fighting them, trying to keep it straight because they're trying to turn the wheel. This button is to change view because you can't change view until you're on track. So I waited until they were on track to tell them. And not only that, but one of the rigs has a brake pedal mod, which means it's like a load cell, but it's not. You have to press it stupid hard to get brake pressure, right? So what I needed to do, and this was always the case, the ones that pressed the gas when I said press the brake, these were the ones that needed to press the brake, because I get them to press the brake, and they'll press it, and they'll hold their foot on it, and it's got like 20% brake input, because you have to press it stupid hard to get full brake input. And I'd say harder. Okay, see that bar that's full now? That's full brake pressure. That's how hard you got to press the pedal.
That's what you need,
to get full brakes, right? But when I did it for this category of person who just wants to press the gas because they think it's Need for Speed, I'd say foot on the brake. They put their foot on the brake and they get 20% pressure. And then I say harder. They take their foot off the brake and they press the accelerator.
Oh, no.
I don't know why. They don't listen to my instructions, but they just don't want to press the brake. And that's why we don't have runoff on the tracks we use.
They're the future, the hoons in the making.
It's hilarious, man. It was so funny.
The real funny bit about like the load cell, the wheel with the load cell mod, is that you'd get like a group of, because we had the 4 rigs, you'd get a group of 4, right? And then you'd basically just say, okay, who's got the strongest legs?
Yep.
You literally, because if you had a group and one of them was like this like 10-year-old little girl who probably couldn't even like reach the pedals, let alone push them, you know, like you don't want to put her on.
You don't put her in that one. You don't put her in that one. Nope. Oh, it's funny. I think Nate's frozen.
Just to reach the pedals in the first place.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. There we go. He's come back.
Yeah. No, you froze for a bit there, buddy, but I think we're good. Oh, well,
that's all right.
We'll call it on after hours. I think it's time to wrap it up. We're having network problems, issues and stuff.
We're cracking up.
All right.
Oh, dear.